He decided to dig the ground through, and 40 days and nights was digging this hole. Turns out, he's not crazy. Hi friends, while our world is being subjugated by new technologies and progress does not stand still and a huge number of startups appear every day, while private launch vehicles are launched into orbit and everyone shouts this is a breakthrough, alas, but there is a completely different reality where people cannot afford the basics, and this is not somewhere in a parallel universe, but in a huge country. Today we will travel to India, where for many centuries the modern society has been divided into castes. There are upper and lower strata for the population, and each has their own rights and commitments. What is quite surprising for the 21st century. This country is still living according to 1,000-year-old traditions. The caste of a person determines everything: the choice of the future, spouse, and profession, and even the place of residence. The untouchable caste is at the bottom of the hierarchy, and it so happens that they are the ones who are constantly discriminated against. Sometimes, the injustice towards these individuals can be a question of life or death, and even if you are super talented, insanely clever, your place is at the bottom and no one is going to let you climb out of there. Our hero, Papu Rao, was also one of the untouchable caste. He worked from morning till evening for a couple of coins with the hope of providing for the family. This man, his wife, and their small son live in a self-built house with no sewage or electricity. Their small village is on the outskirts of civilization, and the only thing that made them happy was access to water. But once, that got taken away too. There were problems with water in the village, and the only water source where they could get it was a well. But the well belonged to a person from a higher caste. For many years, the untouchables had to lick the dust and beg for the basics of water. People from the higher caste didn't want anything to do with the untouchables, but let them use the well anyway. One day, Papu Rao's wife went to the well to get some water as usual, but to her surprise, people didn't let her and moreover insulted her, thus letting her know that the right to use the well has been taken away from the people of the lower caste. When she came back home, she told her husband everything, and that he has decided to go to the well himself and check. When he started to approach the well, the people from the higher caste forbid him to come closer. The tradition is that untouchables cannot even say anything back or argue. That is why Papu simply returned home and looked in his wife's teary eyes. That was the last drop for him. He took a shovel and went outside. Of course, his wife thought that her husband, in the fit of rage, might make mistakes, but he reassured her and said, "If they don't give us water, I will find it myself and our village will have its own well." After that, he turned around and left. But as it often happens, his friends and close ones didn't give him the support for his good deed. His wife and neighbors thought that he had gone mad to be looking for water in the place for 3 previous wells dried out. Surely, that seemed like madness. Moreover, to dig out a well, you need 4 to 5 people to work together, and as expected, no one was going to waste their time and energy on this useless endeavor. Later, when the villagers found out what he was doing to dig out a hole, they even started to twist their finger near their forehead, laughing at the same time. No one took him seriously, well, because he had gone mad. It happens to everyone. And our hero was alone face to face with himself and the dried out hole that he had been digging. But nothing could make him turn back and say no to his idea. In addition to his 8-hour workday, Papu Rao was now digging 6 hours, 4 hours before work and 2 after. After several days, his wife has tried to talk him out of it, and had to bear weird looks from the villagers when she brought him food. But Papu Rao has decided against giving up. Even though he had no experience in this, he continued working every day and prayed to God, and hoped that his intuition won't fail him. He was hoping that he was digging in the right spot. All of this seemed like a joke. Nobody knew what was underneath the ground. What if this place is lifeless and there's no water? And even if there is some, it can be a depth of 60 meters. How could he possibly dig out such a passage? No, he definitely has gone mad, said the villagers. It's difficult to imagine what Papu felt, what kind of emotions he experienced. Thus, one day after another passed. The first 7 days of work passed quickly, but ones had to go down the passage by a ladder and take out dirt in bags. The work really slowed down. During the first days, people came to see how he was doing, but after 10 days, no one came. Let this crazy man dig, they thought. But even after 2 weeks of work in a huge hole, there was only dirt. His wife looked at him with remorse, but he wasn't going to give up. The villagers have tried talking him out of working further, but he only answered that they were used to begging their whole life and licking the dust before people like yourself, and told them to take their buckets and go beg for water. He said, "I am not going to beg anymore. I am a human, just like them, and I can provide water for my family." After 30 days of selfless work, the hole was 5 meters deep, but there was still no water. The people started to lose hope, but our hero had promised himself to even dig the ground through as long as he needed, but he will find water. To everyone's surprise, after 40 days of hard work, he achieved his goal. At the depth of 6 meters, he saw water. Then, for the first time, he put aside the shovel and sat down to rest. It's hard to believe, but he dug out a few tons of dirt and carried it all out on his back. No one believed him this entire time, but he was just doing what he believed in. After the well started to fill with water, the people looked at him as if he was God himself. But he didn't hold any grudges and, moreover, allowed everyone to use the water from the well. Even journalists found out about the story and came to ask for an interview. I am not mad at the people. They are victims of the system that doesn't allow them to step out of the strict borders of the caste injustice. They couldn't believe that they were capable of something because they are used to begging and doing the most horrible jobs. I don't want to be like that, and I am not going to create any barriers for myself. I believe everything is in our hands. This man's words and his seemingly simple action made news all over the country. Millions of people from the Untouchables cast saw this man as a leader that was ready to change everything and wasn't afraid of difficulties. Since then, life in the village changed. Now the people didn't need to beg for water. Moreover, people have decided to work the land, since before they worked for the higher caste. After this case, the discussion about justice and the abolition of these barbaric castes started to come up more often. What will come out of this? Only time can tell. The most important thing is that people now have hope in themselves and their power, and that means a lot. But this story is a great example that everything is in our hands, our worldview. Do you agree with these words? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for today. Give the video a thumbs up and see you soon.